a city united in sports. Starting from its hard-working blue-collar workers to the street stubbornness and perseverance, Philadelphia is a city that symbolizes work ethic and resilience. These qualities ring true in the way Philadelphians treat their sports teams. They pass this love on through generations. Football, baseball, basketball, and hockey. Philadelphia is known for passion, fierce loyalty, and somewhat notorious reputation. What makes Philadelphia's sports culture so special? From booing Santa Claus to chucking snowballs at opposing players, Philly fans have reached legendary status for their antics. But those are just a few moments from the many sides of a very complex fan base. Beneath the surface lies a community that roots for its teams, supports its players, and astutely celebrates the highs and lows of what it means to be a Philadelphia sports fan. But it runs far deeper. Philadelphia is a community of legends that have made impacts in all sports, have made our communities better, and the world as well. A city of first, a city that loves the underdog, that does not back down in its passion at every level. Philadelphia runs far deeper than just a game, and because of that, we will love our athletes forever.
That's Philly. They hate you.
We want Dallas! Dallas! We hate you!
What if I told you that Eagles fans put the entire NFL on the naughty list?
It was my ultimate goal to be in this city. I started to feel like, wow, this is where I should have been born.
Next guy up, hit him right in the head, all right? Please squat.
It's important because the girls ought to be afforded the same opportunity as our counterparts.
It was such a great time for me. And then go into the Spectrum and then have the fans like say, hey, you better play right.
Can you get us to the promised land? Of course, yeah. Don't fuck it up.
Yo!
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it.
Philly special. Ready?
My name is Steve Talon. I'm vice president of the organization, and we needed to recognize Pat Williams, who passed away this year. When our founder, Ken Avalon, was looking at MCs for events, he kind of stumbled across that Pat Williams, then of the Orlando Magic, was Mr. MC. For those who have been here, Mr. Poem. And he reached out to him. And we were a nascent organization that had no credibility whatsoever. But Pat saw what we could be. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll be your MC. And from minute one of being on the dais in year one, 20 short years ago, we were legitimate. And that was Pat Williams. And when he brought up Ruth Mack Clark, Connie Mack's granddaughter, and just started weaving tales of old A's stuff, which I had no idea what he was talking about, to be brutally honest with you. It was amazing. When he brought up everybody, he made it personal. He made a connection. And on a personal note, as an adoptive father, I'm an adoptee, Pat Williams had 18 kids. 14 of them were adopted from around the world. The dude was amazing. Anytime you were in a room with Pat Williams, it was different because he was different. He was the best. And we just want to thank him for being our MC for so many years, bringing more to our organization than we ever gave him, which was like plane tickets and having his sister come to the event because she lives in Wilmington. We can't thank him enough, and I want this room to stand up. I want this room to applaud Pat Williams, a Philadelphia Sports Hall of Famer and a Philadelphia legend. Thank you.
First, I'd like to call out the Giant star, Eddie Stanky. Eddie, come out here. How are you, boy? I'd like to call out somebody that you undoubtedly know.
Just a minute. The back there gave me 2 or 3 kicks before I came out.
Phil Rizzuto of the Yanks. Eddie Stanky says no comment.
But I'll tell you, it was a smart play. I didn't argue about Eddie kicking the ball out of my hand, although that is the hardest I've ever been kicked.
He says he got part of your hand and part of the bag, and he feels that he did touch the bag.
Eddie Stanky unleashes a blast that chases Woodling back before he gathers it in. Mays tallies after the catch, and the ball game is all tied up at 1-1.
Score, bottom of the fourth. Spotted Jorgensen taking a small lead off base. Jorgensen, a rookie, spent last season in Montreal. Here's the pitch. And Stanky lines to seam the left to right field. Slaughter spiked him high up on the leg, and he is down.
Get up, Jackie. Get him up, boys. Get him up.
Just stay out. The T-Doc will be right out. Q. Oh. Next guy up, you hit him right in the head, all right?
No. Give me up.
No. Let me stay there.
No. Give me up. Just get him out. Just get him out. Understand? Game's too important. Just get him out. Play ball. You're a tough man, Jay. Let's get him out.
Alice Putman Willits. Putty to her friends and teammates. But one day, Putty would pick up 2 unusual sticks, and the talented Putty would never look back. She'd attend Temple playing tennis and basketball and become a 4-time All-American in field hockey. For 10 years, she would represent the United States on the U.S. national hockey team. And she'd do it for 13 on the U.S. national lacrosse team as well. Putty would share her love of sticks, introducing lacrosse to Haverford High in 1947, introducing it to Temple as well in 1952, and coaching there for 3 years. As the head coach of Swarthmore High for 21 years, she would set records that might never be broken. 155 wins with only 20 losses, 5 undefeated seasons, and 3 league titles. An All-American athlete, an outstanding educator, and a legendary and motivating coach. Knowingly or unknowingly, Putty would make the Philadelphia region and the nations a powerhouse in sticks for the next century.
Up like we do. No one does us like we do. Always go hard with this crew. But welcome to the show, let's make moves. Nothing's gonna stop us, it's start to get rough. Turn the whole room up, it's never enough. Let's go, 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 let's go. Gonna go and take it over. You call us King Kong. Here we come, running through the door. Don't wait long, don't blink twice. Going, we're going, we're gone. Let's go, 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 let's go.
Good evening. I'm Ken Avalon, President of the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you. Welcome you to the 2024 induction ceremony. Out in our audience here, we have a lot of our past Hall of Famers. They always come back and welcome the new class. And as an organization, we like to honor our inductees when they're getting honored. Last Saturday, a group of us got to go to the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony to see Ray Didinger and Jay Wright get inducted. It was neat. It was interesting. It was nice to see it from the other side, to see how organizations work. And one of the inductees there was, you may remember the name, Bo Orlando, great defensive back from upstate, from Berwick. And in Bo's acceptance, he didn't talk about his championships or medals or awards or trophies or anything. He just talked about people. People that helped him get where he was, people that encouraged him, people that he was able to help bring along. And that's kind of what we're about here at the Hall of Fame. It's really about people. And then with the inductees you'll see tonight, you'll hear them. They'll talk about the people that helped them along the way. And it's also about us people, the people that have kind of enjoyed those thrills and shared the heartaches, especially here in Philly. We have our share of heartaches. But that's what it's all about. It's about people. It's not about stuff. And that's what the Hall of Fame is really about. A little while ago, you heard from Steve talking about Pat Williams. And you can't say enough about Pat. And Steve's right. It was almost a stamp of approval. When I talked to Pat, he said, "Use my name." I wasn't quite sure what he meant. At the time, I didn't realize, it wasn't being, wasn't an ego thing or anything. But instinctively, he knew we needed help. And he said, "Ken," he said, you use my name. So we started reaching out to the inductees, and they knew that Pat Williams was going to be the MC. Paul Arizin says, "Hey, Ken, sure, I'll be there." And then it was like this roll call of the greatest names in Philly sports history. Steve Van Buren, Paul Arizin I mentioned, Robin Roberts, Chuck Bednarik, Joe Frazier, Harry Callis. And without Pat, we may not have had that type of success. And then we started reaching out to supporters, sponsors. And we found the same thing. They saw that Pat Williams was the MC, and we got our sponsors and supporters for that first induction ceremony. And as Steve said, it was almost instant legitimacy for us. And a lot of those sponsors and supporters are here today, and there's too many for me to mention. You'll see them on the videos. You'll see them, you see them all around. They're in here. So without that group of sponsors and supporters, we wouldn't be here. So just a quick round of applause for everybody who kind of paid for us here. And something else that Pat said to me, and it felt good. He said, "I'm in, Ken. I understand what you're doing. You're not a bunch of, star-crazed fans, star chasers. You're cleat chasers," is an expression I've heard lately. He knew we're a bunch of dedicated volunteers with a great idea. And again, what you see tonight, as great as this is, as fun as this night's going to be, it's all volunteers. And there's a lot of them out there. I'm not going to mention names because there's too many. But let's hear it for the volunteers that got us here, please. And the last thing, and again, Steve mentioned this as well, is that perhaps the biggest help that Pat gave us was saying he would be the MC. He said, "Ken," he said, "get me to the podium." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, just give me your list of inductees, get me to that podium, and I'll take it from there. I'm like, wow. And at the time, we didn't realize it, how big of a deal that was, but it was such a load off our minds. And for the next 15 years, Pat Williams was our MC until 2020, when tonight's MC, host of the WIP Morning Show, Joe DeCamera, will take us through the rest of the night.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to Ken, and thank you to all of you for being here tonight for the 21st Annual Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame Banquet. I mean, what a night this is going to be. So I'm at the, reader's stage of my life here, so here we go, as I got to glance down from time to time. Look, I applaud you, and I applaud the players and the coaches and all, but I just want to say first to everyone here, this is a packed room, so we appreciate that, and we, certainly intend to hopefully put on a great evening for you here. It is great to see some returning faces, which I've seen many of tonight. And for those of you here for the first time, I think that's fantastic. And my guess is you'll be back. We have a really special group here tonight, touching so many different sports. Obviously, the four main ones, I think it's fair to say that we talk about, certainly on WIP, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, with the greatest frequency. There's no question about that. But we also, one of the things that's really important in the hall is to touch other sports. Some wait till you hear these stories, unbelievably accomplished individuals. And tonight we'll touch also golf and swimming and field hockey and boxing and gymnastics and lacrosse. We will really cover a ton. So we have a great group. The group may be made lesser by, we have tonight Angelo Cataldi as an honoree. Where's the big guy? Lukewarm so far, Angelo, lukewarm. Who, let you in? All right, hey, all jokes aside, let's hear it for Angelo. He deserves it. Angelo's going to bring the house down at the end of the night. And Angelo, it's a great honor for me to be here to honor you tonight. Congrats to all of our inductees. We salute you, and we're happy to salute you tonight. Now, the Philly sports scene lately, a little up and down, obviously. We know that. Look, for the most part, there's been more team success toward the playoffs than in many other eras. I remember last decade, there was 3.5 years where there wasn't even a playoff win in any of the four rounds. Lately, the Phillies, the Sixers, and the Eagles have all been consistently in the playoffs, and we appreciate that. We really do. Now, obviously, we'd like to see it go a little further. We all get that, and it certainly may. I would strongly, and I mean strongly, encourage people in no way to give up or be dissatisfied with the Phillies in a way that, frankly, I hear some people be. Look, they've made the playoffs 3 straight years. They were within 2 wins of winning a World Series 2 years ago. I have total confidence they'll be back for the next 3-4 years. They're in good shape. Trust me. The Phillies are in great shape. I mean that. So now the Sixers, that's a whole nother. So where's Jameer Nelson? Jameer, where are you, buddy? Congratulations to Jameer Nelson tonight, who we may need to suit up for the 76ers soon. Jameer, if you got some games in you, my man, with Tyrese out, we might need you. But congratulations to Jameer Nelson tonight. Legendary career. Of course, from our standpoint here locally, most notably with St. Joe's, and we'll honor that as we move through the evening. Eagles much better lately. I mean, much. 4 in a row, guys? 4? 4 in a row, right? All right, so big game on Sunday. Big game on Sunday. I heard it. So, I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to about 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And it'll probably be already established that Dallas will lose. But when the camera pans to Jerry Jones and you get to see his face, might be his fifth face, might be his sixth, who knows? But Jerry Jones and that forlorn look, I think, will be coming on Sunday afternoon. Let's hear it for the Eagles as they go for 7-2 this weekend. You know, the Flyers, obviously, it's been a tough go the last few years, but they are obviously going to improve. But I think it's pretty clear Jonesy and Danny Briere have really infused some new life. Mishkov is a difference maker, that's clear. Now, if you remember when Eric Lindros made his debut with the Flyers, it took 2 years till they made the playoffs. So these things do take time, but we certainly wish the Flyers luck, and we are really happy tonight to honor Rod Brindamore, who was one of the toughest, and I mean, he was great, absolutely great. All right, so a lot going on here, and you know, the Philly sports scene, I'll just say this, it's very special. You see it with some of the videos, but I think more than anything, I mean, don't you just feel it in your heart, right? I mean, you know, I know it was said earlier tonight, and it's true. There are wins and there are losses, and the downs can be down. But here's the thing about the downs: we care so much, and that's why it hits us so hard. You know, and that's the thing I don't frankly think people nationally quite recognize. The passion, the intensity, the enthusiasm, it's pervasive throughout our community. So, despite the occasional and maybe more than occasional disappointment, it's a real. Let me put it this way. I wouldn't trade in what's in my heart for the whatever it is, 27 Yankees World Series, 28. Like, to me, it's till I die. And I think a lot of people here would probably establish that as well. This is what we do, and this is who we are. And this is why you're in the room, and this is why tonight we honor individuals who have thrilled us through the years. So let's get to it here, because I'll say this thing's going to live on. This Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame thing, it's going to live for the ages. And those that we honor tonight will be enshrined forever. They're in our heart forever. It'll be passed down to generations, frankly, not yet even born, as you saw with the 3 videos earlier tonight. I'm sure some of you were not alive during, their lives. But this is what we do, and this is what the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame will always do. And I want to give a special shout-out to the Hall, which, I come in here once a year, and I'm thrilled to do it, But it's people like Ken Avalon and Steve and their crew. Unbelievable. And let's hear it. I mean, really, it's phenomenal what they put together. Look, we all look forward to the future generations of inductees, which obviously will include the retired players like Jason Kelsey and Nick Foles, right? No question. The current players, Bryce Harper, Zach Wheeler, Joel Embiid. Now, early report that night when Embiid goes in, he'll be injured, okay? He won't be able to attend. But the door will be open to him, and hopefully it's 15 or 20 years from now, and he has a long career, we shall say. All right, let's get to it tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as we honor the best of the best for the 21st induction class, the 16 individuals. And let's start with Stan Walters. What a player Stan Walters was for the Philadelphia Eagles. One of the best offensive linemen in team history, a 2-time Pro Bowler, a 3-time All-Pro. At one point, and this is really saying something given the nature of injuries in pro football, at one point he started a tremendous 122 straight games, 122 along the offensive line without missing a game due to injury. He was a member of those 4 Eagles teams under Vermeil, late 70s, early 80s, that obviously made the playoffs, and a big part of that line. He, of course, you want to talk about legendary moments and legendary wins. The victory over Dallas, 1980, huge part of that. And go back if you get a chance sometime on YouTube. For all the times, and I mean this is no disrespect to Wilbert, that we talk about Wilbert's run. Look at, the chasms the offensive line created. Unbelievable. Stan Walters, phenomenal. And then, after his playing days, 14 years, a broadcaster along with Merrill Reese in the Eagles play-by-play. And he was great. That's what I grew up on. A member of the Eagles Ring of Honor, Stan Walters.
In just 5 years, the Eagles had gone from patsy to powerhouse. A remarkable achievement by a group of remarkable men.
Game funny, now we got to do it right. Tempo's starting to sag. People starting to feel sorry for themselves a little bit out here.
We want Dallas! Dallas! We hate you!
Key players on offense have provided leadership through the entire Vermeil era. Tackle Stan Walters, center Guy Morris, and blocking specialist Jerry Sizemore, who did not allow a sack all season. They teamed with ageless Woody Peoples and young Petey Perot to form a front line that further benefited from the blocking of tight end Keith Presley, while fellow lineman Stan Walters worked the other. Cowboys All-Pro defensive end Harvey Martin called Walters the toughest man he faced all season. When the Eagles defeated the Dallas Cowboys, they won the NFC title and wiped out 2 decades of dreadful memories. The triumph of the underdog, the comeback from hard times. Yes, the long wait.
To be able to call you guys a champion, it's the greatest thrill I've ever had in coaching. And thank you for what you've done for me.
The long wait was finally over. The Eagles were champions.
A year symbolized by the retirement of a long-time standout for the Birds, offensive tackle Stan Walters. But the time for the old guard to depart is also a sure sign that there are new players on the horizon.
Tackle Stan Walters.
And here to accept tonight on behalf of Stan, his longtime partner in the booth, and another Philadelphia Eagles legend, Merrill Reese.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. It is great to be here. It is an honor to represent my good friend, Stan Walters. Stan is one of the greatest linemen in Eagles history. After an outstanding career at Syracuse University, Stan was drafted in the 9th round by the Cincinnati Bengals. 2 years later, in 1975, he came to the Eagles in a trade for former first-round quarterback John Reeves. And as you heard in the film, during one of those interview sessions during the Super Bowl when the Cowboys were there, somebody asked Harvey Martin, you remember Harvey Martin and Too Tall Jones, and they said to Harvey Martin, who is the toughest of the offensive linemen you faced? And he said, Stan Walters, the Eagles' left tackle. And because of that, the following year, Stan made the Cowboys' all-opponent team, and in 1977 and 1978, he was named All-Pro and played in the Pro Bowl. He was part of that Eagles Super Bowl 15 offensive line, and you heard them named, but I can still remember Stan Walters and Jerry Sizemore were the tackles, Petey Perot and Woody Peoples were the guards, and Guy Morris was the great center. What a great offensive line that was. We have one today, another great offensive line. But after retiring from football in 1983, Stan joined me in the broadcast booth for the next 14 years. Stan was a student of the game. He would bring up names that we never heard of. I still remember them, names I just never heard of before. He used to talk every year. He would talk about a high school coach from upstate New York by the name of Jules Yakupovich and his radar defense. Stan had theories. He had a lot of theories. He was a real thinking man. He said, and he believes this to this day, that time of possession is overrated. Now try to figure this out. Stan says what counts is points for every 100 yards gained. Once during an Eagles-Cowboy game at the Vet, Stan was upset with several questionable calls, bad calls against the Eagles. Finally, he said, Cowboys general manager Tex Schramm, who at the point was part of the competition committee of the NFL, he said, Tex Schramm has these officials in his pocket. A minute later, Tex Schramm appeared in an adjoining booth, and he started banging on the window and then pulling out his pockets to show Stan there was nothing there. Tex was supposed to be Stan's halftime guest. He refused to come in for an interview, and then he let it be known that he was removing Stan from the Cowboys mailing list. And Stan said, "That is an honor." Ultimately, Stan left broadcasting to join his wife, Kathy, and his children, Stanley and Elizabeth, in London, where Kathy was assigned to run Kimberly Clark's overseas operations. It is fitting that this great athlete, husband, father, and friend tonight deserves the other deserving honorees in the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. Stan has asked me to convey his sincere appreciation. Thank you very much.
Merrill Reese, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be getting on a plane soon, not tonight, but soon, for that nasty place, Big D. All right, our next honoree. I mentioned him earlier. What a player. Rod Brindamore. He was just tremendous. So, you know, if you were obviously alive in the 1990s, you know all about Brindy and the Flyers. He was everything that we admire in a Philadelphia athlete. He was that combination. So he was physically tough. He was mentally tough. He was skilled. He was a good guy. He helped the Flyers win big games. I mean, Brindy was awesome, and he was the kind of player that there's no doubt in my mind it was easy for us to feel proud to root for, right? That's what Rod Brindamore represented. Early in his career, team MVP of the club in 1990. And then as the club got better, he was a big part of that as they made the playoffs year after year after year. His point, obviously, mid-90s to late 90s. Just a really awesome, gritty player. And, of course, after he was here, he went on to success that, you know, we got to mention because he was the captain when Carolina won the Cup and is now the Carolina Hurricanes head coach. This is why he can't be here tonight, but we are proud to honor a Flyers Hall of Famer, Rod Brindamore.
When you come into this world, the first thing you're given is a name. You spend your life making it into something. It's how you come to be known.
How do you think your time in Philadelphia, obviously you're here for quite a while, shaped the player you became, the captain you became, and now the coach that you are?
Man, that's such a good question because I can't give enough credit to my time there as it developed me as overall, the way I approached my game, you know, getting there and then, you know, my first meeting with Paul Holmgren and going, oh, wow, you know, this is okay, I get it. And then I can go on and on. I could talk all day about it. It was such a great time for me. And then go into the Spectrum and then have the fans like say, hey, you better play right, you know. That's essentially what they did.
Hey guys, Rod Brindamore here. Sorry I couldn't be there, but this will be the best speech of the night probably because it's probably be the shortest, and everyone will be very appreciative of that, I'm sure. But I just want to thank whoever was responsible for deciding that I would be worthy to be in the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. Man, Philadelphia's got to be the greatest pro sports town in America. They support their teams like no other. And yeah, listen, when it's not right, they let you know it, and I think that keeps you on your toes as an athlete. I certainly appreciate every minute of my time there in Philadelphia. I want to single out a couple of Philadelphia Flyers that are in the Sports Hall of Fame that really took me under their wing when they were in Philadelphia. Bill Barber, who just been a great mentor to me, especially with my time there. And, can't thank him enough for really just showing me what it meant to be a Philadelphia Flyer, number one, but really just how to prepare and be a great athlete. Well, I wasn't great, but the best I could be. And Mark Howe also, great teammate. I only got to play with him for 1 year, but man, the amount of respect I have for that man is utmost. And I want to thank him as well, and all the other Flyer alumni guys that are in there. I know there's a whole bunch of them. Very, very special group. And finally, just to the other inductees tonight, man, it was a pleasure to watch you guys do your thing while I was there. Got to mingle with a few of them over the years, but it's a special group of athletes in Philadelphia, and very, very honored to be a part of it.
It's how you're introduced. And as time goes on, it earns a reputation. Your name becomes your signature. And it's often made greater by the company it keeps. And for some, a name begins stories. It bonds generations, even feeds rivalries. It can demand immediate respect and inspire unconditional love. Until ultimately, your name can become how you're remembered. And once it's engraved, it will never be forgotten.
Rob Baltimore, I'm proud to present this to you.
You know, I remember when Brittany won that cup, and obviously we wish it had been here, but I vividly remember thinking he may be, of all those that went elsewhere and won, maybe the one I was happiest for, because he had laid it on the line. So I think the guy broke his nose like 37 times. So, you know, it was amazing. All right, let's get to our next honoree. He is from West Catholic High School, Mr. Paul Westhead. So, a huge figure at many levels of basketball. You know, head coach of LaSalle, of course, in the 1970s. Championship-winning coach of the L.A. Lakers in 1980. You know, you want to talk about having guts and vision as a coach. I mean, to take a point guard and make him a center for Game 6 of the NBA Finals was pretty unbelievable. You know, Paul Westhead, so many levels through the years. Of course, the remarkable runs in college. Loyola Marymount, I remember as a young guy watching that, just being in awe, absolutely in awe of what Paul Westhead was doing with Bo Kimbles and Hank Gathers and that squad. And then, of course, when Hank, you know, so tragically passed away, and it was such a shock, and it hurt so many of us that love basketball and from Philadelphia. And, you know, to know that team under Paul was able to forge ahead for those next couple of weeks and go on the run they did to the Elite Eight was, honest to God, it was one of the most extraordinary things I ever saw in sports. Bo Kimble shooting the shot left-handed, first free throw. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in sports. Paul Westhead was right in the middle of all of it. He was also a champion in the WNBA with the Phoenix Mercury. High school, college, the pros, a big-time career in hoops. Paul Westhead.
Can you get us to the promised land? Of course, yeah. Don't fuck it up.
When Kareem twisted his ankle, Westhead made the historic decision to play Magic at the center position, leading to one of the greatest finals performances ever. 42 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists.
Congratulations to Paul Westhead.
Thank you very much. I have laryngitis, but that might help you. I want to thank the committee, especially Kay McGee, who made a call and told me I was being inducted. So thanks for Kay and the McGee family. I want to thank my family. We live in Los Angeles, so we flew in the whole family last night. my 4 children, my daughter Monica and her husband Rob, my daughter Patrice and her husband Kevin, my son Paul and his wife Kia, my daughter Juliet, and one of our granddaughters, Sarah Lucenti. They all came to help celebrate this time with me. But I have to say to you, most of all, it's my bride, Cassie, 61 years. Thank you, honey. She should get the award. So I start my career on the streets of Philadelphia. You know, I'm a South Philly, West Philly guy. Streets. I'm fighting for recognition. I don't play at West Catholic, although I love the school. I got cut, and I'm trying to get a basketball position somewhere in the universe, and I go and have a pickup game, and Jack Ramsey from St. Joseph University comes to watch me, and unfortunately the day before I hurt my ankle, so all I did was stand outside and shoot set shots. I took about 20 and made most of them. Don't ask me how. 4 years later, after being a St. Joe Hawk, at our last pregame meal, Ramsey says, "Paul, you made more shots in that afternoon than you've made in 4 years." And he was right. I can only tell you because my grade point average, academic grade point average, 3.4. My points per game, 2.4. So, thank you. I am not here as a player. As a coach, I had a little more success. I started as a head coach. My first job was at Cheltenham High School here locally. Some of my players still talk to me, and they're here. Chuck Scheckman, Chris Perry, and Joe Dratch. They tried to do their best to get me moving up into the college ranks. And sure enough, I then coached LaSalle College for 9 years, and then moved on to the Lakers. If it sounds like bragging, I had 20 jobs. I got fired in 14 of them. So I know what it's like. And you're going to say, well, what's the difference? The difference? Players. If you have players, you win. If you don't, you get fired. So I'm a living testimony of that. They alluded to a couple things. I want to say, yes, I coached the Lakers in 1980 against the Sixers with Dr. J in the Spectrum. Heck, it could be the parking lot out here. I mean, we're real close. And you know the whole thing, Magic becomes starting center. He scores 42 points. But what you don't know is, as the game ends, my wife, who flew in from L.A., is by herself in the stands, and the people around her figure out, because she's the only one cheering for me and the Lakers, they stand up and applaud her. So how about that, Philly fans? Yeah, thank you, thank you. I move on to the college ranks, and I coach a little-known school in Los Angeles, Loyola Marymount. They never had done anything until I was smart enough to recruit from Muriel Dobbins Tech in North Philadelphia, Bo Kimball and Hank Gathers. Once they came, we led the country in scoring. We were in the NCAA tournaments. We played a national game at LSU against Shaquille O'Neal. I'll give you a little Hank Gathers insight. He had his first 5 shots blocked. Now, most people would leave after 2. There was a timeout, and Hank said, "Get me the ball." He finished with 45 points and 25 rebounds. There was a basketball player. I want to finish, but because people always say to me, well, who's your best players and who did you like, and et cetera. Well, I'm at Loyola Marymount, and we're at a home game, and I have my 13-year-old daughter, Julie, with me, and she wants to stand outside the locker room and watch the players come out. So she had a crush on a player named Jeff Fryer. And I'm standing there with her, and out comes Hank. And he walks right over to Julie, and he says, Julie, who is your favorite player? And she goes, you are, Hank. Well, 35 years later, if you ask me, who is your favorite player? You are, Hank. You are, Hank. Thank you.
Our next honoree tonight is from the world of gymnastics, Joan Moore Nat. Tremendous. So from girls' high school, Joan was a 4-time U.S. all-around champion. She was a six times she won the national title, various parts, obviously, of gymnastics, including the balance beam, the floor exercise, the vault. She covered it all. 1974, she was the Gymnast of the Year in America, an 11-time member after her career as a gymnast, then influential within the world as an adult, 11-time member of USA Gymnastics Board of Directors. She has given back to the sport in such a big way, and she is a member of the U.S. Gymnastics Hall of Fame. The extraordinary Joan Moore Nat.
The Olympics that I competed in were the 1972 Olympics, which were held in Munich, Germany. Most people remember that as the terrorist Olympics. But my greatest memory was being in awe of meeting so many athletes from so many different countries. Highest placement a U.S. team or a team from a non-communist bloc country had ever made. And so I credit and I'm proud of that because I think we paved the way for a lot of the accomplishments that the athletes today are making.
Munich, West Germany, to the gymnastics team competition for women. This is Joan Moore of Philadelphia.
The power here and the standing aerial walkover that she opened with is something that a lot would love to do. And look at a double twisting back somersault.
She's a flame, so bright she can burn your eyes. Better look the other way. You can try, but you'll never forget her name. She's on top of the world, hottest of the hottest girls. Say, oh, we got our feet on the ground and we're burning it down. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it, Joan Moore Nat.
Good evening. First, I'd like to say congratulations to all the other inductees. What a great, prestigious honor this is for me. And I want to thank my family and friends for traveling from near and far. I want to thank some of my childhood friends who are here tonight. I grew up in Philadelphia, obviously, on Franklin Street, and I had brothers and sisters that I was one of 7, and thank goodness my mom and dad kept having children or I wouldn't be here tonight. So one of my older sisters had to take me to Mann Recreation Center because she wanted to do tumbling classes. And at that time, I developed a love for the sport. And I just kept going and going. I had two wonderful coaches, Bill and Ginny Coco, and they started out at Mann Recreation Center. And then Bill Coco got the college men's gymnastics coaching position at Temple University. So we then moved from Mann Recreation Center to Temple University. Before I forget, I also want to thank Fred Turoff, who nominated me for this position. He's a childhood gymnastics friend of mine. And also want to thank all the volunteers here tonight, Ruth, and everyone who's worked on this project. It's truly amazing. I'm in awe of everything. So my brothers and sisters that are still surviving made me make a promise to them that I would thank them for washing all of the dishes while I traveled with gymnastics and doing my chores at home. So I thank them. I especially want to thank my husband, who's been my support for 32 years. He encourages me in everything I want to do. We opened a gymnastics school in Orlando, Florida, and we coach there, and now we're somewhat retired, and we still own the business and still have a love for gymnastics. I do gymnastics judging around the country, so I love the fact that I have been able to give back to the sport for all of these years. It's not a professional sport until now with Simone Biles, but it was a sport back then that just slowly and gradually developed. I also want to thank all of my children. I have 4 that were all athletic, and my grandchildren are here today. I'm truly, truly honored, and my cousins, friends, and family. Thank you all so much.
Congratulations, Joan. Congratulations. Speaking of congrats, we have some individuals here tonight who we've given congratulations to before because they were honored before. And I'd like to take a minute or two here to recognize some of our returning Philadelphia Sports Hall of Famers. So I will name them, and if you would, if you're able, gentlemen and ladies, to please stand or at least give the wave so we can know where you are. Returning from the class of 2012, the voice of the Phillies, public address announcer, that is, the great Dan Baker is here tonight. Now batting for the Phils. Also here tonight from the world of basketball, Hoops Weiss is here. More basketball. How about, some say Steph Curry. I say the greatest shooter is Herb McGee is in the house.
Always felt this was a great event. I felt that way since I went in a long time ago. But it's just special tonight because I haven't seen Paul Westhead and his family in years. And I'm down here to make sure we get a chance to say hello to him. And of course, I know Jameer very well, Angelo very well, and they got a great cast of characters going in. So good luck with everything.
J. Russell Peltz is here tonight from the world of boxing. Let's go back to back with these next 2 Flyers champions, Jimmy Watson and Joe Watson. Joe Watson from the class last year. That was a fun evening last year with Jay Wright and a number of Jeremiah Trotter. Was a great night last year. From the world of baseball, still helping the Phillies. And what a unbelievable career it has been for the great Larry Bowa.
You know, it's great to be back to honor the new athletes that are going to be inducted tonight. Obviously, my heart's leaning a little bit towards the 2 Philly guys, and Ryan Howard and Chase Utley, 2 guys that are very deserving of this honor. But it's always good to come back here to see guys that played back when I played and the newcomers coming in. So hopefully this will be a great evening for everybody.
From the Flyers, public address announcer on the Pico power play, Lou Nolan. Let's hear it tonight. Back with us again from the class of 2018, Mel Greenberg. You've heard from him earlier, but let's make special note of him right now because he's from the class of 2009, Mr. Merrill Reese. So last year, it was clearly the most unbelievable speech, and while I have not attended the prior 20 banquets, it may be the greatest speech of all 20. I heard someone laughing. You were here, clearly. From horse racing, it was bonkers. Tony Black. Right there. On the chair. I don't know if it's on YouTube. If it's not, it should be. If it is, watch it. It was the most unbelievable speech. Honestly, it was unbelievable. Also here with us tonight, how about Tim Witherspoon in the house? We've also got from the class of 2022, Nikki Frank is here. From basketball, another legendary figure. Again, many levels of hoops through the years. We know and we love him. Speedy Morris is here tonight. And finally, from past classes, from the class of, let me get it here, 2006. That means he went in one of the early years. The Diddy, Ray Dittinger. All right, let me tell you about our next honoree tonight, an extremely tough and unbelievably accomplished individual from the world of boxing from North Philadelphia. His name, George Benton. So he boxed, now this spans a long time here now. He boxed from 1949 to 1970. Now, I want to tell you why I make special note of those years, because that's a big chunk of time. The reason is because, and I could not believe it when I first heard this, in his 76 pro fights, and he fought some great fighters, 76 fights, he was knocked down 0 times, all right? 0. Never knocked down. 76 fights. So extraordinary. Look, obviously as a boxer, unbelievable. But also then after his own boxing career ended, as a trainer and doing so much for so many boxers, he helped so many. The list, I won't give them all to you because it's long, but it includes Smokin' Joe. It includes Tex Cobb and Leon Spinks and Mildred Taylor and Pernell Whitaker, and how about the real deal, Evander Holyfield. Listen, let me tell you something. Unbelievable career in boxing, a member of the International Boxing Hall of Fame and the World Boxing Hall of Fame, George Benton.
George Benton had nowhere to go. He grew up in a family of 11 children. With apartments too small and packed to stay inside, the young George spends his youth on the streets of Philadelphia. At age 8, George steps into the gym for the first time. George Benton was a boxing genius. For nearly 2 decades, George was one of the best middleweights in the world. It was 1970, and his sister had been accosted by a man at a bar. Benton's older brothers threw a beating on that man. The man returned in a rage and determined to kill one Benton or another. The first Benton he saw was George. The bullet was buried too deep and too close to his spine to be removed. George carried that bullet from a man he never met for the rest of his life. His final record was 61-13-1. Never knocked out. Never knocked down. Never got a title shot in a career that spanned 2 decades. George couldn't fight anymore. After the shooting, George threw all his effort and intellect into becoming a trainer to the most brilliant boxers like Mike McCallum and Rocky Lockridge, Mildred Taylor, and the man he called his masterpiece, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. He was in Leon Spink's corner when he beat Muhammad Ali. He was in Evander's corner when he beat Buster Douglas. It was the grace of his movement and sharpness of his intellect that inspired and enabled his students to achieve the greatness he never got the chance to.
Here to represent George tonight, George's daughter-in-law, Vashti Benton. Vashti, congratulations to your family.
Good evening. My name is Vashti Benton. I am George Benton's daughter-in-law. The Benton family would like to thank everyone at Philly Sports Hall of Fame. We are grateful for this honor and accept it on George's behalf. George Benton was a boxing legend, and we are all very happy that he and everything he accomplished are not forgotten. He would have been proud to receive this honor. George loved boxing and worked his entire life to create his great legacy. This award is validation for all his effort and dedication, both as a boxer, a trainer, a father, a husband. We all would like to say from the Benton family, thank you so very much. And before I leave, I would like to give thanks to Mr. Herman Diamond, Mr. Joe Rhodes, also Mr. Russell Peltz. I thank you all so very much for having my father inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. God bless you all.
Tremendous. Congratulations, Vashti, to the Benton family. All right, so I want to just venture out here for a moment. I don't think we're going to feedback on the microphone, but we'll find out. I don't think we will. I know the spot of where to go here. We kind of figured it out earlier. So I want to drift over here to my guy. Who's my guy? Angelo, who's my guy? Let's talk to Angelo for a second. So, Mr. Angelo Cataldi, I want to ask you a question. Now, Angelo, earlier today on WIP, told me he wants me to rip him. That's not really my style. I try to keep it, kind. So I'm just going to ask you this question, Angelo. What year did you arrive in Philadelphia?
1983.
What year did Donovan McNabb arrive in Philadelphia?
1999.
Can you riddle me this one, Angelo? How does Donovan get in this Hall of Fame 5 years before you if you got here 16 years before him, sir?
You said it earlier, Joe. I don't really belong here. And being the final speaker was a very bad decision by whoever made it, because all of these roses and unicorns ends when I get up there. I'll tell you that right now. But you guys decided it, and I am honored and thankful that you saw fit to put me in here. But I really don't belong.
Oh, I disagree. Angelo Cataldi, a good sport and an extraordinary talk show host for over 3 decades on WIP. Angelo, thanks, sir. Angelo didn't know I was going to do that, but I had to do a little something here. Hey, silent auction is open, and it is in the back of the room, this corner back here. If you get an opportunity, head back there at some point tonight. It will be open until 9 o'clock. I don't have a time right in front of me, but whatever is till 9, that's how much time you have left. Some incredible items back there. So check it out, silent auction. Get yourself some good items till 9. All right, our next honoree this evening is really an extremely important individual who has had such a positive impact on the lives of countless individuals through the years. Lorleen Jones, ladies and gentlemen. So, unbelievable. She went to William Penn High School. She was, that's right, a little louder. She went to William Penn High School. There you go. So, incredibly influential and important life. A civil rights protester who, as an activist, while at Baltimore's Morgan College, did a lot for the civil rights movement. An educator, a coach, a mentor, through 52 years within the Philadelphia's school system. In 1979, she led a Title IX-based lawsuit and led it to a successful conclusion to, this is really important, to allow girls to compete in high school city title games. Now think about that. Before that, I mean, they didn't have that. Laura Lean made that happen in 1979. Just that alone, right? That's huge. She is the winningest female coach in the history of Philadelphia high school sports. I repeat, the winningest coach in the history of Philadelphia high school sports. A member of the Philadelphia Black Basketball Hall of Fame. In 2019, People magazine recognized her as a hero amongst us. Lorleen Jones.
One day, we won't need this day. We won't need a day to celebrate how far we've come.
I am woman, I am fearless, I am sexy, I'm divine, I'm unbeatable and creative, honey, you can get in line.
You a trailblazer championing girls in sports. Back then, the public league champions in every major boys sport would play the Catholic League champs in what was termed the city title game. Girls were not allowed to compete. So in 1980, she sued her employer, the Philadelphia School District and Catholic school system, under Title IX.
Now that's crazy, isn't it? The people who write your check. And HEW used to be right across the street from my high school, so I walked over there one day and filed.
And the rest was history.
It's important because the girls ought to be afforded the same opportunity as our counterparts.
Here with us this evening, Lorleen Jones.
Well, as Tiffany Haddish would say, this is nice. I want to thank the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame for this honor. And this honor not just goes to them, the honor for me is also to the School District of Philadelphia, William Penn High School for Girls, Morgan State University, and I also have to give a little to my high school, University City, and as I last coached, Martin Luther King High School. There's an old gospel song that goes, as I look back over my years and I think things over, I can truly say that I've been blessed. You heard everything that I was going to tell you. You saw it on film. This year, 2024, has been extraordinary. It started in February of this year when I turned 80 years old. It's a typographical error. Then I went on to Washington to be honored by the Senate. And then Chris Rabb from the state of Pennsylvania, a street naming, WDAS said I was a distinguished woman. Well, one of the things that I have to tell you, I was motivated by a mother who was trained as a teacher, but she could not teach in the School District of Philadelphia. So she became a domestic, and she says, I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to do the things you want to do. She instilled in me that reaching out and helping people is what is going to make your life rich. As I left Morgan State, and walked across the stage in 1965. I came back to Philly because I said, I want to give back, and I want all the children in Philadelphia to know what I know and to be able to make a life for themselves. You heard that I'm the winningest coach. Well, I had good players. And I had players who were hungry, who wanted something more for themselves. I'm happy about having all of these championships, but you know what makes me more happier? It's the fact that I have teachers, social workers, I have lawyers, I have doctors who have been able to pave a road for themselves. I know that it is very important that sometimes you try to give back to them, but they have given me so much. And one little story I always tell is I went into the bank one day, I was standing in line. Someone said, Coach, why are you standing in line? Well, there's all these people in front of me. She said, I'm the vice president. You don't have to stand in line. Those are the things that make me so extremely happy. I want to thank everybody here. I know that I have to say that this award, I am because of you, my village. You are the village who motivated me, who pushed me, who inspired me. And yes, there are those who dislike me, but it's okay, I forgive you, because now the girls can play. So as I close, I have to give honor and I have to recognize there are two people here in this room who are very dear to me because they put up with me. They put up with feeding my team. They put up with my team wearing their clothes. And those are my favorite son, Eric. And I have to talk about my favorite daughter, Kimberly, because not only did Kimberly play for me, she was also my assistant coach for a couple of years. So I am extremely thankful. I'm extremely proud. And the only thing, thank you is such a small word, but I'm saying it from my heart. Thank you very much.
Well, I want to say this to Lordeline, because for many people, of course, we say congratulations. But Lordeline, I want to say on behalf of everyone in this room, thank you, Lordeline. Thank you. Our next honoree tonight is a major superstar from Philadelphia sports, Chase Utley. So, I mean, where to start? I don't know. I'll just say this. What an unbelievable baseball player. Unbelievable player. 6-time All-Star with the Phillies. Legendary career. Thorn in the side of the New York Mets, which we, of course, appreciate it. That's right. He ranks in the top 10 of almost all the major categories in Phillies, history. Just a prolific offensive player who was also, I thought, an incredibly underrated defensive player who's really a great defensive second baseman. Tremendous. The play he made, obviously, in Game 5 of the 2008 World Series will always be one of the headiest and best defensive plays in the history of Philadelphia sports, right? Nobody hustled harder. Maybe a few people hustled equal, Charlie hustled, but you couldn't try harder than Chase Utley did. He was a tremendous member of the 2008 Philadelphia Phillies World Championship team. The man, Chase Utley.
That's Philly. They hate you. Unless you're wearing Philly red or you're a Philly, they don't like you.
We interrupt this video for a brief public service announcement.
Hey. I love you. I love you. I love you. Chase.
Here's Chase Utley with a chance to do some damage here. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Long drive, could it be? It is out of here! Grand slam home run, Chase Utley. Welcome to the show, Mr. Utley.
We interrupt this video for a brief public service announcement.
Yo. I love you.
Dude. Murray grounds one up the middle. Utley, good play. Has no play at first. Throws home. And out is the call to end the inning. Yo. Chase Utley, you are the man.
I love you.
I love you. Chase.
Dude.
John.
It would not be proper for me to introduce Chase Utley. Let me welcome another Phillies legend, the voice of the Phillies and the public address announcer in the stadium, Dan Baker.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 26, Phillies second baseman, Chase Utley.
Thank you, Dan. That was amazing. First off, I'd like to thank the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame for including me in this amazing group of athletes, difference makers, and obviously Angelo. I'm a firm believer in surrounding yourself with positive, supportive people, and I feel pretty fortunate on how things have gone. So I'm thankful to Ed Wade. Ed Wade was the general manager that drafted me and brought me to Philadelphia. I'm thankful to Larry Boa, my first manager, who kind of showed us how to become major league players. I'm thankful to Debbie Nacito. Debbie, will you please stand up? Debbie, please stand up. Thank you. I'm not sure what I'm thankful for with Debbie, but I'm just thankful that she's here tonight. I'm thankful to John Middleton for allowing us to have successful teams over the years and put us in position to win. I'm also thankful, side note, thankful to Paul Westhead for leading the Lakers. I grew up a Lakers fan as a kid, so thank you. But most importantly, I'm thankful to the city of Philadelphia for bringing me in as part of your family, asking the most out of us and, pushing us to strive and be our best. So thank you.
What a player. What an incredible player. Our next honoree tonight to the world of basketball, legendary player at St. Joseph's, Jameer Nelson. So, for Jameer, You know, unfortunately, he never played for the 76ers, but boy, he played a lot here because he's from here. From Chester, he led Chester to a state championship his senior year of high school. And then at St. Joe's, it was awesome. It was awesome. As a freshman, the National Freshman of the Year in college basketball. As a senior, the National Player of the Year in college basketball. And he won, like, all the awards that year. The Naismith, the Wooden, he won them all. That year, 04, you know, we've had some very special things, obviously, in the history of Philadelphia sports, and Chase and the 08 Phillies is one of them. 2004 St. Joe's, I mean, there was just about nothing ever like it. The undefeated regular season, the way it infused pride in all of us, even if you were a Villanova fan or a Temple fan, right? I mean, St. Joe's represented all of us, and Jameer, of course, along with Phil Martelli, you know, led the way. It was an incredible squad. He had yeah, let's hear it for the 04 Hawks. He, you know, he had a fantastic career in pro basketball. He played for a long time, 15-year NBA career. He was an all-star. He played in the NBA Finals. And now he's with the Sixers. He is the general manager of the Sixers Blue Coat squad. He's just one of those guys from here that we're just proud that he's one of us. Ladies and gentlemen, Jameer Nelson.
Don't ever let them tell you dreams don't come true. Don't ever let them shoot down your dreams. Look me in my eyes. Now tell me, who gonna stop me?
From Chester and the St. Joe's Hawks, Jameer Nelson.
I've been asked tonight a lot if I can help the Sixers, and the answer is no. Not right now. I was watching the video and I got chills because I was like, man, what it is to be young again. But no, as a true Delco kid, standing here as a new inductee in the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame is surreal. It's a moment that I'll never forget. I'm truly honored and grateful to be recognized among such a talented and inspiring group of athletes, sports figures who represent the city's heart, grit, and love for sports. To my family, my beautiful wife is here with me. My kids couldn't make it. Their names are Jameer Jr., Jamia, Jaden, Jace. That's it. Don't worry about it. That's it. My friends, my teammates, my coaches, especially Phil Martelli. Your support and belief in me shaped me to be the person I am and take me along this journey. I couldn't have done it without you guys pushing me to be the best player the best person on and off the court. So thank you guys. Even though I never played for the Sixers, I work for them now, the city of Philadelphia has always backed me. Through every win, through every loss, all the ups and downs, I carried you guys with me no matter what team I played for. So thank you guys. I also want to thank the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame Committee and the volunteers for this incredible honor. It's humbling, and I'm blessed to say I've earned a piece of Philly's rich history in this Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Jameer Nelson. And he's wrong about one thing. He could help the Sixers. And the reason I know it is this. Jameer and I were in a free throw shooting contest last year. We do it annually on WIP to raise money for Coaches versus Cancer. And Jameer was kind enough to lend his time. And 50 free throws. And this is last year. 50 free throws. 48 for 50. All right? Needless to say, the Hammer did not win that competition, I got to tell you. All right, our next honoree won a lot at Villanova. He's one of the great people and the great coaches ever from our area, and of course I'm talking about Andy Talley. So, Andy was, is, and will always be Villanova football. You know, he revitalized the program. The school's program, he just brought it back. And for 32 years, he won an astounding 229 games. And obviously, you know, college football, you know, it's not like you're playing 82 games a year or 162. 229 wins in 32 seasons is awesome. 2 times the AFCA National Coach of the Year winner. He made 13 appearances. Villanova made 13 appearances in the postseason under Andy. He was and will always be the 2009 National Championship coach, the NCAA FSC National Championship Villanova squad. That was a special year that year. And I got to tell you, because I've known Andy for, I guess for me personally, about 15 years or so. And I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, his work in football pales in comparison to his extraordinary efforts saving lives. Look, we all want to make an impact. At least I think most of us do. And in certain ways we do. Some people do it in very big ways. If you don't know about the Andy Talley Bone Marrow Foundation, I really encourage you to look into it when you get home tonight or tomorrow. So through his extraordinary efforts, the Andy Talley Bone Marrow Foundation, I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt, Andy Talley has helped save lives. He's a legend, and he's a great person, and he's now a member of the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, Andy Talley.
To describe what Andy Talley built is the same as talking about the history of the football program and its entire second act.
You know, Villanova had dropped football in 1981, and there were no football offices, there was no schedule, there was no team, there were no players, there were no assistants. So I literally had the ability to build this the way I wanted to. Villanova was a great name. I was a kid from the neighborhood. I used to come to games and knew the place well.
Andy Talley came here and started the football program. So I watched him from ground zero build this. And I was just so amazed how quickly Andy put that all together. And also, at that time in his career, how friendly he was to a young assistant like myself. Then coming back as a head coach, I knew he had been here for a long time, had great success. And I knew I needed to learn from him.
Was pretty simple. Get him into the fourth quarter, keep it close, play Villanova football.
There was nobody yelling and screaming. We were just a flock of geese flew over the stadium in the form of a V. And I used to do that in practice. I'd stop practice and go, look, the V. And the kids would laugh at me. I mean, come on. I mean, the karma was there. I knew we were going to win, and it was the greatest feeling. There was Villanova football in 1981 that was given up for dead, and we had to wait 25 years to get there, but we did it. And to be the best team in the country, that's as good as it gets.
Tonight, Gotham's relying on one man to save us all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Philadelphia Sports Hall of Famer, Andy Talley.
Good evening. What a pleasure. Wow. So many great people here tonight. I'm just so proud to be involved. I have a lot of people to thank, but I'll be brief. Certainly want to thank my wife, Arlene, for putting up with me all these years. My son, Josh, my daughter, Gina, and Nolan, my grandchild. Where is he? Nolan? Yeah. And his wife, his mother, Nancy. Thank you. I was a college football coach for 47 years. 32 of them were at Villanova. Of course, as a young kid from Bryn Mawr, blue-collar neighborhood, I would sneak into the games at Villanova as a kid and wish that someday that I could play there. I never was able to play football at Villanova. I played somewhere else and had a nice college career, but I always thought, I would love to be the football coach at Villanova. Of course, when they dropped football in 1980, it really concerned me and bothered me because I had watched as a kid so many years all of the people who had played there. And so as time went on, I realized that they had decided that they would bring the program back. And at that point in time, I had coached around the country. I had been in the Ivy League. I had spent time at Brown and different schools, and I was the head coach at tiny St. Lawrence University in upstate New York. So when the job opened, I applied for it. And of course, there were a number of terrific football coaches that were involved in the job. But when I went down for the interview, I made sure that I touched all of the bases that I needed to touch to have a shot to get the job, because I was a small college coach and I knew that Villanova had been a Division I school. In any event, as the process went on and on, I ended up getting 2 interviews. And the first time they said, well, you can come down. We can't pay your way, but you'll have to pay your own way to come down. So I came down 8 hours from way upstate New York, interviewed for the job. And then they called me back and said, we'd like to have you come back for the second interview, but we can't pay your way. Typical Villanova, right? So I said, okay. So I went down again, took the train and all of that, stayed with my mom, who lived in Bryn Mawr on Martin Avenue in the old blue-collar neighborhood. Went up and interviewed. And this time, I kicked it up. I really did the kind of job you need to do in an interview. So then I got a call back 2 weeks later, and they said, we want you to come back for a third interview. And I said, I can't afford to come down there. So they paid my way. So when I got to Villanova, I did get the job. There were no players. There really was, there was nothing. And so I said, well, we're going to start this thing from scratch. We went out and recruited as many local players as we could. And it was just an amazing opportunity to get a lot of local kids that wanted to stay home. Anyway, we went on and got it going, and it was a great run. In 2008, I got involved with the bone marrow program that I presently run, and I met this young lady by the name of Krista Ross, and she's in the neighborhood right here at this front table. And she said, I think that we should start a bone marrow program. And I knew nothing about it, but she had some knowledge about it. And I said, okay, let's do this. So she helped me along, and together we put together the Andy Talley Bone Marrow Program. And so what transpired was that over the next 15 or 18 years, we put 245,000 young people on the bone marrow donor program. We have 1,500 transplants that we're responsible for. So I think everybody in the room tonight knows somebody who has cancer. And we all do, for sure. And so our goal was to help as many people as we possibly could. Presently, at this point in time, we have 1,500 of those transplants that are alive and well, and we are continuing to do that. I have 350 college football teams that do bone marrow drives with me every spring. And the college football coaches have big hearts, and we've had a lot of big-time coaches who've done marrow drives with us. And because of that, a lot of Division II and Division III schools, when I call them up and I go, Coach, would you do a bone marrow drive with me? I never had anybody say no to me, because we're all in it to save lives. So the power of college football has been tremendous. Krista Ross now is with the National Marrow Donor Program. In the last 2 years, she has gone with them, and she's now a big hitter with them. So she is doing and will be doing bone marrow drives with a lot of women's college teams throughout the country. So we're not interested in just college football, but all teams that are involved in athletics, to get them involved, because I know that we can help save a whole lot of lives. So I miss her being with us, but we still continue to do the work that I do, and it's just been tremendous that we've been able to keep that going. There are some players here tonight that I want to mention to you. Two of them played for me at St. Lawrence, Keith Henry and Mark Ferrandi. Mark is now the head football coach at Villanova. Mark is very, very successful. He played for me at St. Lawrence. He was an All-American at quarterback, and Keith Henry was an All-American running back, although I think right now I might have to move him into the defensive line because he's put on a little weight in the last couple years. But I think he could still play football, for sure. Also, I've got some other players here. Danny Falaska, who played for me. Dave Labriciosa, who played for me. Richie Cernak, who's here, whose dad played at Villanova and played for me. And so for me to come back to my hometown and be able to be surrounded by former players, I can't tell you how tremendous it is. As I look at the Villanova team, the offensive coordinator is Chris Bowden. Chris Bowden played for me at Villanova and was an unbelievable quarterback. So after recruiting Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, locally, I decided to go to California and the far west. And Chris was a great quarterback in California. And I talked him into coming all the way to Villanova to play football. And he lives here now as the coordinator. And he was just maybe one of the top 5 players that maybe ever played for me. There is another person that I would like to mention, and his name is Ryan Fannin. Ryan Fannin is somebody that, if you follow Villanova basketball, which I know a lot of people here do, and Villanova football, he's the voice of Villanova basketball. He's the voice of Villanova football. And he is an amazing person. I mean, amazing. I got him started, actually, if you can believe that, on the radio station at Villanova, I think when he was like 20. And his career has just been amazing. So love Ryan Fannin, the voice of Villanova football and basketball. There's a couple of other people that are here that I would like to mention. One is Dean Kenefick. Dean is the sports information director, and now he is one notch away from the presidency at Villanova and has been there a long time. One of the great people of all time, and he's had my back for years and just been tremendous. And then there's Father Rob Hagan. Father Rob was a guy that was so close to our football program. And now, if you watch Villanova basketball or Villanova football on TV, you'll see him on the sidelines. He's the guy that handled so many things for me behind the scenes, because when you coach football, it would be wonderful if you could just coach the offense or coach the defense. But when you have 80 or 90 football players, believe me, you got to keep track of where those dudes are. And Father Rob was tremendous in helping me keep our kids where they needed to be. So thank you so much for all of the names that I mentioned. I have some people here from the NDP, National Marrow Donor Program, who came in. Amanda Scott is here. She came in from Minneapolis. And Amanda is the best. Anything that we needed, they are my partner. So for me to do bone marrow programs, California, Minnesota, New York, Philadelphia, Florida, I need the National Marrow Donor Program. And Amanda makes sure that we have that. Ron Jacobs is also here. Glenn Lloyd is here as well. And they have helped me be successful with this program where we are saving lives. As I mentioned earlier, I know everybody here knows somebody or has somebody in their family that has some form of cancer. It is my enemy. It is my enemy. And I attack it every single day. And Amanda and her group has helped me do this. And again, I'll mention college football coaches. Krista Ross now working with teams around the country that aren't just football teams. And we're after it. Nobody in the country, nobody in the world does what I do. Nobody. Because I have the power of college football behind me. I have numbers. I have coaches. I have players who want to do what I do. So it's just been amazing. I was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2020, and I thought it was like, wow, that's the pinnacle. You can't go any higher. And then all of a sudden, I got a call from this group and said, we'd like to bring you in. And I went like, wow, you know, I'm 20 minutes away. I lived here, you know, my young life. To be inducted into this Hall of Fame is special. So I'm so proud to be here tonight, to be a new member, and I'll continue to work hard to help this group do whatever it is they want to do to be successful. Thank you so much, and good night.
Andy Talley. All right. Huge figure from the world of basketball. From Washington Township High School, a 4-year starter at LaSalle. In the WNBA, her impact has been phenomenal. Consider these facts. A 4-time WNBA Coach of the Year. A 2-time WNBA Executive of the Year. With the Minnesota Lynx, she has won 4 WNBA championships as the head coach. She's their coach, she's their GM, and oh, by the way, a couple months ago, remember in the Summer Olympics, Paris? That was a fun time, right? How about Team USA's gold medal winning coach, Cheryl Reeve.
The legendary Cheryl Reeve, head coach and general manager of the Minnesota Lynx, who has led the Minnesota Lynx to 4 WNBA championships, is widely regarded as one of the greatest coaches in WNBA history. Her experience working with elite players like Maya Moore and Sylvia Fowles, Reeves' leadership extends into off-court initiatives as well. Cheryl Reeves' legacy as a coach goes far beyond her success on the court. One of the most vocal advocates for gender equality in sports, Reeve has used her platform to push for better treatment of female athletes.
But building chemistry and how to do that.
Her ability to manage and develop talent is unparalleled.
Okay, guys, pay attention. What happens if we catch it and we toss it back? Boom, we toss it back. I'm going in the middle. What's this side doing for me? Double.
You know, the cliches of believing that we can do it, I don't necessarily buy into that. I'm more into putting out what's necessary.
And we're going to work, because that's what it's going to take.
It's certainly, again, a part of the education process. I think the younger women that are aspiring to do the great things that maybe women before them have done, reminding them maybe that there was a path, that I think a lot of times younger people think that there wasn't too much before them. And so understanding who paved the way.
Realize the world is ours.
WNBA champion, Olympic gold medalist, Cheryl Reeve.
Thank you. It's good to see everyone. It's such a great honor, a thrill to be recognized by the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. I have to tell you, November 26th, 1984, I never thought that I'd be standing here. And the reason is, November 26, 1984, it was my first college basketball game. Where's Coach Morris? Coach Speedy Morris was my coach. Here he is in the back. I was the legendary Speedy Morris. Coach, I don't know if you remember the game, but here's how my journey to the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame started. We're down there at Delaware. My first game, I was a freshman. And at some point in the game, Delaware went to a zone defense. And at that particular time, I clearly didn't understand how to attack the zone. And so I would dribble up the court, and I wouldn't draw two. I would just simply try to throw to a wing. 1 turnover. I come down, try the other side. 2 turnovers. We get to number 9 of the turnovers, at which point, now I was a hustle. I was like, I'm going to get it back. Every time I turned it over, I'm going to make a play. I'm going to get it back. And on this particular one, as I sprinted and I turned to get back and try to break it up, Coach Speedy on the sideline is down in a crouch. I'm thinking he's cheering for me, like, go, like it. He goes, you bleeping suck! At which point I stopped playing, and I heard the sound of the horn to be subbed out. And when I got to the bench, I began to cry as a freshman. And Speedy came down ever so sensitive and said, you're crying, I should be crying. That was my first, that's where it started. So I'm a shining example that sometimes you have to fail before you succeed. And that's where it started. And I on this journey of, thinking about being here, I'm reminded of the path. It was a long time ago, back in the 80s. And I'm reminded of how important it is to have coaches or teachers in your life that are going to invest in you and believe in you. And for me, that was my high school coach. Dawn Schilling at the time became Dawn Bunting, married the great Eagle, John Bunting. And what Dawn Schilling did for me at that time, I was a multi-sport athlete, and I was actually, my first love was softball. I felt like I was better at softball than I was at basketball. But Dawn Schilling sat me down and said, look, there's more opportunities scholarship-wise. There's more money at that time in basketball. And I really think you ought to, spend your time and your attention on basketball and pursue a career there. So I can't tell you how grateful I am that she invested in me in that way and shared that advice. Speaking of high school, if I could, I have a few teammates here that have just been amazingly supportive through the years. Kim Franchi, Karen Healy, and Janine Reynolds. And I really want to thank Karen Healy, because Karen Healy was a player. She went to Temple University. I don't get seen for an opportunity to go to LaSalle if not for Karen Healy. The college coaches were coming to see her, and that's when I had a chance to be seen by Kevin Gallagher, who recruited me to LaSalle. And then I was coached by Coach Morris and then Coach Miller. If you guys remember at that time when Speedy Morris was at LaSalle, he spent 2 years with the women. And then he left the women to go coach the men. And at the time, I was really naive. And I realized, that was probably maybe the end goal of the AD at that time. But I understand now that was a demotion, and I'm really sorry, Speedy, that happened. At LaSalle, I learned so much of what became my coaching foundation today. I learned what stoked my passion, my fiery side. That was Speedy. He even taught how to throw a jacket, and I did that once. I was on national news for about 24, 48 hours on ESPN. I was on USA Today for tossing a jacket. And you would think that when I called home and talked to my mom, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know how this is going to go. And she said, well, they deserved it. So I love my support system. Mom, thanks for being here. And then John Miller, who could not be more opposite than Speedy Morris. So Speedy stoked my passion, my fire. And John Miller made me want to be a better person. This dude is like the salt of the earth. Anybody that knows Coach Miller. And I'm still working on that. I'm still striving to be as good of a person and patient of a teacher. John Miller gave me one of my greatest tidbits that I carry with me. I told him this when I saw him this evening. I would like to say this because he recounted this story to me. My mom, when I had an opportunity when I was graduating LaSalle, I was considering going into coaching. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I had an opportunity that John Miller gave me to come back to LaSalle and be a graduate assistant coach, to get into coaching. What John told me tonight was that at that time, we didn't have scholarship money to give to me to be a graduate assistant. And he would have to use a scholarship that was to go to somebody on the team. And so when I talk about people investing you and believing you, John Miller was that for me. And there was one day at practice where he's in his coaching stance. He's got on one knee with his elbow, and we're watching half-court offense, and I'm standing next to him. I had just played, so now I'm coaching. And I was griping about one of the players, something they were doing. And he said, "You know something, Cheryl?" He said, "You'll learn this." He said, "But right now, your box of things that you accept are about this big, is about this big. And you're going to learn that in life and in coaching your players, your box is going to have to grow." I can't tell you how many times I have referenced that to try to be a better coach to our players. Speaking of LaSalle, I have a couple of LaSalle teammates here. Maureen Buckley in the house. Linda Hester from LaSalle. Thank you so much for your support. I found my calling coaching in the WNBA. I can't tell you how much joy it brings me. And it was despite my dad feeling I didn't have a real job. At that time, it was a summer job. And my oldest brother, Larry, who's here tonight, appreciate Larry and his wife, Chris, and his kids, Larry, Lisa, and my nephew-in-law, Matt, my first job in the WNBA, I got offered a job, a full-time job, to be an assistant for the Charlotte Sting for $5,000. And I had to call home and tell my family that. And I had 2 degrees from LaSalle University. My brother said, my brother said to me, "Cheryl, you've got to be kidding me. You have 2 degrees and you're going to go do this thing for $5,000. And my dad for years asked me when I was going to get a real job. And I'm also really, really grateful. I have, like I said, my mom here, my brother Larry here, my youngest brother Tom is here, and to this day he continues to call me to give me great advice and advise against the turnovers that the team is committing, ever so encouraging. And I think that for me the journey of coaching in the WNBA has been so incredibly rewarding and special. It afforded me the opportunity. I know we talk about championships, but you saw on the video, one of the things near and dear to my heart is trying to improve the athlete, not just as an athlete, but as a person, and to empower for them to reach their greatest heights of anything they want to do outside of basketball. I'm super proud of that. So for me, from Gustine Lake to Kathy Rush basketball camps, to Philly Summer League, to the Palestra, playing in the Big Five, the 3rd floor of Heyman Hall in our games, and 25 plus years of coaching, I've loved being claimed as being Philly. And I'm incredibly grateful and humbled to be a part of this class of the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. And my last shout out I want to give to Coach Lurleen Jones for paving the way for me. Thank you.
Cheryl, congratulations. And thank you. Team USA's gold medal. That was an incredible achievement a couple months ago. Our next honoree, as I mentioned earlier, is Brendan Hansen. That's right, from swimming. So, dominant swimmer, Haverford High School, and as I mentioned, a 16-time All-American, which is just too unbelievable to believe, but it's true because of all the different, obviously, competitions within swimming. 14 times a champion while at the University of Texas. He's a world champion and set numerous records during his swimming career. 3-time Olympic gold medalist, and this includes in the 2004, 2008, and 2012 Olympics in the 4x100 medley meter relay, excuse me. It was just an incredible career for Brendan. He's a member of the International Swimming Hall of Fame and now a Philadelphia Sports Hall of Famer, Brendan Hansen.
The crowd needs to let him hear it. 10 meters to go and counting down. 2:09.04 to time. You got the clock. He's going to do it. He did it. He did it. A new world record. He did it. Hansen has set the world on fire.
What I want to do is I want to go to the Olympics, I want to stand on the podium, and I want to hear the national anthem. And I want to stand up there with 3 other guys.
Three-time Olympic gold medalist Brendan Hansen.
Okay. There's 2 things that the volunteer base at the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame need to know. Number 1, don't put an Olympian in the ready room that long. And number 2, lead with the swimmer, because we know time. So when you give us 2 minutes to speak, we'll do it. There it is. I got a lot of people here tonight to thank. My swimming family in the back, Middle Atlantic. Thanks for being here. This is our local swim committee. They're the ones that put on everything in the area. Like Jameer, I'm a Delco kid. And then my family up here. This is always the hardest one for me to get through because they mean that much to me. I know you've heard everybody come up here and talk tonight, but you don't get to stand up here if you don't have a table like I do. And it means the world to me that you guys are here tonight. My Uncle Bob's birthday tonight. Let's hear it for Uncle Bob. Hell yeah. I think from my perspective, I grew up in Philadelphia. I moved to the University of Texas. I still live in Texas. But just like Jameer, I was a Delco kid. I grew up just down the street. Wawa was one of my favorite places. Yeah, there it is. And I grew up watching all of Philadelphia sports. The 94 Phillies, remember those guys? Darren Dalton, Lenny Dykstra. I mean, the Eagles, I just remember, and I remember the Phillies, I remember the Eagles, and I remember the Flyers. And they inspired me and my entire generation to be amazing athletes. I think when you go to the Olympic Games, the first thing you do in the room of all these other athletes is you stand up there and you say your name and then you say where you're from. And it was the first time that I realized what it meant to be from Philadelphia. When you stand up in a room with the best of the best and you say, hey, everybody, my name is Brendan Hansen, and I'm a Philly kid. And they're like, oh, shit. because that comes with something, and that means something. And I think what it meant to me was, and what it made me realize throughout my career was, it meant that I was dedicated, that I was going to outwork you, that I was gritty, and that I was more passionate than anybody else on the team, which ultimately made me a leader in everything that I was doing. And then to move on, I just want to thank my family. And I think the most important thing you can realize is, and I say this every time I give a talk, is the greatest currency we have in our lives is the impact we have on everybody. I rarely say this unless I'm swimming, but I am so humble tonight to be with this class of athletes, coaches, and people in Philadelphia. You don't go into sports thinking about nights like tonight. You just don't. And then when they happen, you sit back and you're real quiet and you kind of take retrospect of everything that you did in your life to get here. And for how much I grew up living in Philadelphia and following Philly sports, to be a part of it and be a part of it forever, I am forever grateful, and thank you. And again, thank you to my family for being here and the entire Philadelphia family. Thank you.
Yep. Brendan Hansen. All right, so we go from a Olympic champion to a Philadelphia Phillies champion. How about Ryan Howard in the house tonight? Remarkable baseball player. Obviously, dominant does not even begin to describe Ryan Howard. Beyond dominant. Consider this fact. And some of you may know this, some of you may not have ever heard it, but it's true and it's beyond astounding. In a 5.5-year stretch, Major League Baseball, not Little League, Major League Baseball, best pitchers in the world. For a 5.5-year stretch, Ryan Howard hit 262 home runs. 262 in 5.5 years, one of which went over the wall and the ivy and the whole thing that was ridiculous in center field. 796 RBIs in that same stretch. Look, the career remarkable. One of the most consequential figures, obviously, in the history of Philadelphia sports, along with Chase, along with Jimmy, along with Pat Burrell and Cole, that crew, turning around the Phillies and ultimately leading to a title. Second in club history in home runs. Third in club history in RBIs. A Rookie of the Year, an MVP, a great dude, and 2008, a world champion, Ryan Howard.
Let's examine the pitching motion. Wind up, stride, early caulking, late caulking, acceleration, ball release, deceleration, and follow through, with the stride considered the most important phase for generating velocity and accuracy. Prior pitchers would throw and wait for catchers to throw the ball back.
Now let us look at what I call the Howard factor and its influence on the pitching motion. All previous other motion remain unaffected, but 3 new steps are added. Each pitcher following their throws, then look up. All also look to the back of the stadium. Fans cheer wildly and others boo. Followed then by looking at their manager. Most and often exit the game. I offer to you the Howard factor. So now let's observe. Do not lose focus by looking at Ryan Howard. Observe the pitcher and the impact on their motions.
To the bleachers, a grand slam home run, and all of a sudden the Phillies have a commanding 9-5 lead.
back, Mr. Dan Baker.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 6, Phillies first baseman, Ryan Howard.
Only in Philly. Holy. Oh, man. That might be the best highlight tape I think I've ever seen. Never thought about it from that perspective before. So that's pretty interesting. But no, man, what a great honor to be here. I want to thank all of you guys for being here tonight. Having this opportunity to be able to go in with this class, first and foremost, congratulations to all the other inductees, well-deserved. And I was telling Brendan when he walked off stage, I was like, damn, man, I got to follow that? He must be from Philly. Shit. But no, I mean, being here tonight, having this honor bestowed upon me, I gotta thank everybody where it started, my family, all the sacrifices, giving me the opportunity to be able to play. And I gotta go to my Philly family, taking the opportunity on a kid from St. Louis, Ed Wade, Mike Arbuckle, the scouting team, my scout, Jerry Lafferty, who used to always come up to me every time and see me in the minor leagues or sometime during the offseason. And Jerry used to say it all the time. He'd say, well, Ryan, it was great visiting with you, man, but I got to get back on the road and go find your replacement. And I said, Jerry, when you find him, you bring him, and we'll see who's left standing over here, bro. But, growing up a kid in St. Louis, I only remember Philly. Like, I always grew up like a Cardinals fan. And we used to always watch the Cubs and the Cardinals, and it always seemed like it was the Phillies and the Cardinals. And then, lo and behold, one day I would wind up playing for the Phillies. Milt Thompson, I remember when Milty was playing for the Cardinals. His daughter and I were actually at the same school at the same time, and then, lo and behold, in the future, he's my hitting coach. So, I want to thank everybody, Bo, for teaching us and kind of showing us the grit of what this city is all about and how we go about handling our business. Everybody who gave me the opportunity, John Middleton, all those guys drafted me. I think for me, coming into Philadelphia, again, being a kid from St. Louis, I kind of understood a little bit about what Philly was like. You hear about it. You hear about how tough everybody is. You hear how rough it is. And when I got up here, I was like, yeah, they were right. They were right. But it's all about how you embrace it. And coming from a blue-collar town in St. Louis, a little more laid back, to a hardcore blue-collar town here in Philadelphia, I always tell people when they ask me about Philly fans, I say, look, I'm going to put it to you like this. I say, Philly fans kind of get a bad rap, right? We know how it can be. Philly fans can get a bad rap here and there or whatever. But I said, Philly's known as what? The city of brotherly love. You fight with your brother. You hate your brother. You yell at your brother. But at the end of the day, you love your brother. So I'm going to throw it out there for all of my teammates because I'm sure at some point we got some of that other love, that tough love. But no, greatly appreciative of this honor, being in the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. I want to thank them. And for the Philly, man, just embracing me and welcoming me into your guys' family and making me one of your own. I had 2 kids born here in Philadelphia. My wife is from Philly. So, yeah, we kind of tied together, Philadelphia. So, again, I want to thank everybody, all the inductees. This is not the Oscars, but all the inductees tonight. Congratulations again, and everybody have a great night. Thank you again.
The big piece, Ryan Howard. You know, he's been mentioned a few times tonight, but I want to give special mention right now because he's with us, and it's always special to have one of the owners here. He's put an organization in the last few years that is doing such incredible work on the field. Let's hear it for John Middleton, ladies and gentlemen. So we have one more honoree tonight, and we're going to get to Angelo in one moment. In 3 days, we have an Eagles game in Dallas. I need an Eagles fan. Who's an Eagles fan? Who we got? All right, who wants to lead the Eagles cheer? Who wants to just give me a hand? Who wants to lead it?
Eagles!
Well done. Well done. Big game on Sunday. We look forward to it. I think the Birds will come back 7-2, and I think the Cowboys will go home, and I mean like home for good, because they're going to be done. Cowboys at 3-6. They're going to be effectively done. All right, let's get to our final honoree of the evening, and it is Angelo Cataldi. Boy, Chase summed it up pretty good earlier. That was a great line earlier about Angelo. So Angelo was on my program this morning, and he specifically requested an introduction befitting his career. Angelo, here we go. A loudmouth, a jerk. He caused more problems for athletes and coaches in our town than anyone in the history of Philadelphia. A horse's ass. Now, let me tell you something. I got nothing but love for Angelo. He, all jokes aside, he was wrong about Donovan McNabb in 1999. Now, Angelo had a legendary career. All jokes aside, a pioneer, a legend, a giant of Philadelphia sports, an entertainer, an exceptional writer, a remarkable broadcaster. His tenure at WIP, of course, was extraordinary. WIP is what it is because of Angelo. And it's not just a local thing. It's spread across the whole nation. This sports thing we do and, getting on the radio and yapping about it, someone calling in, getting in, yapping about it, telling your friend, after the show, did you hear what I heard this on WIP? Look, Angelo set it in motion. And it was an unbelievable career. And I talked to him earlier today. He told me he's happy in retirement, which makes me happy because we all want Angelo to be happy. Ladies and gentlemen, a Philadelphia Sports Hall of Famer, Angelo Cataldi.
After more than 3 decades of entertaining local sports fans, Angelo Cataldi signed off today for the final time. The 71-year-old retiring after 33 years hosting the morning show at 94 WIP. We wish him the very best of luck and congratulations on an amazing career. And enjoy the next phase to the fullest, Ange. I know you will. Thank you so much.
Angelo came to Philadelphia as a sports writer for The Inquirer, found his way into morning drive radio at WIP, and he ruled the sports fanatics in Philadelphia for 33 years.
If you do any job long enough, it's your identity. Mm-hmm. And it was my identity. Sports radio, we became a great place for all these manic fans to go and express their feeling. It was my ultimate goal to be in this city. I started to feel like, wow, this is where I should have been born. This is my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly negative, very critical, extremely loud. There was no tougher sports media city in America, if not the world, than Philadelphia. They'll find out if you're faking it. They'll know. And if you're not working hard enough in this blue-collar city, they don't want you.
I think that this city demands more of its players than any other city, but also gives that much more back. When you win a championship, 2 million people will go onto Broad Street to honor you. It's happened for more than one sport. We have more passion than any other city. That works negatively, it works positively. But if you really care about sports, you're caring most when you're in Philadelphia.
Best shore town.
Best shore town. Not even close. Sea Isle City.
Mm-hmm. What do you buy most often when you go to a Wawa?
Coffee and beer claws.
Do you really like hockey?
No.
Thank you all for an amazing run. Goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, our final inductee of the evening, Angelo Cataldi.
Thank you. You are too kind. Too kind. Really appreciate it. Is Donovan here? Yeah, maybe not. A couple of things, guys. First of all, it should be pretty obvious by now that I don't belong here. This is my only Hall of Fame induction, and when the guy called me, I said, double check, make sure, please, because I don't think so. And then we were taking the picture over there, and I was looking at all the other inductees, and I'm going, Chase Utley, I ripped him a few times for sure. Ryan Howard, yeah, I got him. Jameer Nelson, I'm sure I got him at some point. When we took the picture, I, on purpose, stood at the very end so they can crop me out. There's no real reason for me to be here, but I appreciate it. I thank you very much. And I was going to just come up here. They said 2 minutes, and I went, good, I'll say thank you to a few people, I'll get off there. And then a few weeks ago, Nick Sirianni got on my nerves. I mean, bad. He comes during a game. The fans are not happy. They're booing. He takes time out of his busy schedule on the sideline to lecture them and to tell them you should not be booing in Philadelphia. How did we survive before he got here for all those years? Can you imagine the audacity for that guy to tell our fans how to behave? And I just got, this is going to be short, I promise you this. I got one lesson in the 33 years that I was on WIP radio talking to great fans like you. And the lesson was, there's only one constant in Philadelphia sports. And although I met John Middleton tonight, it's not the owners, it's not the coaches, it's not the managers, it's not the players, although there are some truly elite performers here tonight. And I bow to them, they're phenomenal. But the only real constant is you. It's all it's ever been, but you. And before you, your fathers and your mothers, and before them, their fathers and their mothers. And someday, it'll be your kids and your kids' kids. That's what makes Philadelphia the best sports city in America, and nothing will ever change that. I was here for 102 sports seasons. 2 wins and 100 losses. But I'll tell you something. When the Phillies won the championship in 2008, thank you, Ryan and Chase, and when the Eagles won it in 2017, you cheered louder and felt prouder than any sports city ever could feel. It was the highlight, one of the biggest highlights of my life, and I know it was of yours, because this is what we live for. It's our passion. It's what we love. And for so many years, we have been maligned in the national media for being thugs and goons and out of control. Let me tell you what we're really like, all right? I'm going to tell you what we're really like. And I wasn't even going to tell this story, but they told me to do a little more than 2 minutes. So, and it's important. About 4 years ago, I'm trying to find a soft place to land. I'm planning my retirement. One of my best callers calls our show. Kenny from the Dirty 30. He was just up here throwing snowballs at me and pelting me and stuff. He is, Kenny, where are you? I know you were just, stand up. Kenny, come up here. Just come, stand up here so people can see you better. So Kenny called me all the time, and usually he called me to complain about something, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but probably like the draft or something like that. I think it was in the spring. And he called up, and I had known, somebody had tipped me off that Kenny was having some health problems, and that it was a big day when he called, and I knew what was going on. But he called and he bitched for a couple of minutes, and then I said, Kenny, where are you going? And he said, I'm going to the hospital. It's my first dialysis treatment. I've got kidney disease, and I need a donor. And he talked for a couple of more minutes. It wasn't like any big thing. At the end, I asked him to just give out the phone number for organ donation. Now, most of these people did not know who Kenny Justice was. They just knew him as a voice on the radio. By the end of our show at 10 o'clock, 28 people had called to donate their organs to save Kenny Justice's life. And one of those people ended up opening the door for Kenny to get the kidney transplant. Kenny Justice is a symbol of the heart and the soul of the Philadelphia sports fan. He's here today because of you guys. Nobody's going to tell you that story on the national television, but that's who we really are. And that's why my only message to you tonight is, don't change. Please don't change, all right? When something great happens, cheer your lungs out. And when something not so great happens, don't be afraid to, boo. Say what you feel. Let it out, because it's what makes us special. We are the most passionate sports base in America. And I just got one last thing I want to do. I don't know if you're aware of it. Ray is. Ray didn't. It's Dallas week. Kenny's going to help me with this, too. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much for this great honor. How about them Cowboys? Thank you.
Angelo Cataldi. Well done, Angelo. Well done. Well, I want to thank everyone for being here this evening. Obviously pretty comprehensive as we covered a lot of bases. We'll do it again next year. Who's going to be in? Who knows? But it'll be a great crew as it is every single year. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. Regarding Sunday, go Birds! We'll see you next year. Thanks, everyone.
What if I told you that Eagles fans put the entire NFL on the naughty list? We talking about practice.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it.
Philly special. Ready?